Some pretty good, some quality production skills there, huh, Chris? What do you think?
Absolutely. You got a calling, I think.
The house band is right off the camera. And as soon as I get another camera, I'll let you all see him. Maybe we'll get him on here one day. Hey, welcome live in the back lot. Tim Scout was here with my good buddy, Chris Davis. If you guys don't know who Chris Davis is, I can't imagine why not. Chris Davis, world famous used car prognosticator. Now, listen, Chris is part of our team here at ACV Max. He works closely with some of the biggest accounts that we have at Max, and he's got some really good insights. Chris was a used car director, right? General sales manager, big group. Chris, right?
Yes, sir. I've been around for a little while. This is the year 14, so I've had a couple big titles, and
you've worked with all different products on the software side with vAuto, First Look Max, different CRMs. So you got a lot of experience, right? New cars, used cars.
Absolutely.
Right, cool. Well, welcome. I wanted to just kind of breeze through my typical show, but I'd love to we had a conversation, you and I, a little earlier, a couple takes from you on some of the stuff that I saw today. So going to go, let's see, let's head back to the slideshow here. So the three big things this week, just a quick checkup on the Black Book data. Man, net income is under pressure. I just took one quick peek at the Automotive News homepage, and wow. And some good takes that from our conversation earlier, Chris, on trades and purchases for dealers. Maybe, fight their way out of these negative net income. So I posted this on the Facebook page. It was the highlight from Black Book that the UAW strike continues. Okay. Obviously, the market remains in a state of limbo, with dealers still saying, quote, "It's a wait and see." I really feel like this has got this quote here, or something like that. It's carrying a lot of weight in the car business. Would you agree, Chris?
I agree. It is a lot of wait and see, uncertainty happening right now amongst dealers. And it affects the new car side and the used car side.
Yeah. At the end of the day here, this week, the market was down essentially a quarter of a point, 0.28. Okay. Cars down a little bit more. So yeah, the market's down, but not by a lot. It's likely you didn't even feel this. Okay. Because cars were down 0.4, not even 0.5%. You might have felt it, which is kind of crazy to me. Subcompact cars down over a percentage point.
In an affordability market, that's definitely a strange.
Maybe we'll get Paul Machine from Black Book back on here, ask him what's going on. Trucks barely down a quarter, 2.0. This particular graph this week, though, was interesting. Wholesale prices, they are down, right, for the year. Where am I at here? There we go. And you can see, so ever so slight decrease. They're kind of flat ever since we started dipping below where we started for the year. But retail prices continue to slowly dive. Slowly. Be interesting to see as we move out of the rest of this year and on to maybe some more stability in the new year. Who knows what'll happen? But here's what the interesting part is. And Chris, tell me if you're seeing this out there on the lots. Inventory levels are up.
Way up. A lot of the wait and see has led to holding on to some cars longer than we may have normally, in the previous 6 months. Guys carrying more cars than I think that they typically do, especially into this time of the year.
So, yeah, I'm hearing guys not making price changes as aggressively as they used to, especially on things that might be affected by the strike. Hearing kind of the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've had some dealers tell me, they're going to hold on to these cars. They're not super worried about getting rid of them until the market changes, or until we get an answer from the strike. But that is leading, as you saw, retail prices are shrinking. So there might be some issues going into having some of these cars and having to reprice them as the prices have dropped, and maybe putting us in some aging issues going into the last of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, so key takeaways. The big thought here is I know that fear is driving a lot of behavior right now in the car business. I'm talking to guys and they're asking me, what do we think? What do we think? What are you hearing? That makes me think people are concerned. I would encourage you guys to keep making price changes, right? That's like, there's plenty of used car inventory. There's plenty of new car inventory. I guess the only thing that might cause heartache if you take a used car in on a particular brand, parts. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, parts are definitely slowing down the turn, specifically for certain brands. Giving some heartache there, some either bigger shop bills because I'm having to do some things different than I did before, or I'm waiting, sometime.
Yeah. I guess you could go aftermarket if you wanted to, right? So, all right. So moving on, what do we got next here? Let's see. Oh, sorry. So I turned to the front page of Automotive News and check this out, Chris. You're a data guy.
Yeah.
What Lithia income slips 20%. Penske income down 23%. Group 1 down 16%. CarMax down, that was 5.8%. So even the best of the best are seeing some slippage. If revenue's up, yet income is down year over year, Chris, what does that mean for a dealer?
Some of it's going to fall in expenses, right? We know like the consumer's feeling the increase in expense, just like the dealer's feeling the increase in expense. There's a lot of moving parts in this. It's definitely interesting to see the record revenues with, some margin shrinkage on the front end. But I think it has definitely got some groups and some worried right now.
Yeah. It's a lot more expensive to run a dealership today than it was a year ago. That's for sure.
Floor plan interest is a big part of this right now.
Yeah.
Inventory is we just talked about it, Tim. Inventory is way up at record rates. I haven't seen some of the numbers from the third quarter yet, but I'd be surprised if it's not some of the biggest floor plan costs we've seen in recent history.
Yeah. All right. So 2 numbers I want you to take away and we'll talk about here and wrap this up, Chris. All right. You ready for this?
Yes, sir.
$500 and 10%. $500 and 10%. So what could that mean? Let me talk about trades and purchase. So I imagine if the biggest groups, the best operators in the country are struggling with income on increased revenue, right? Everybody in the world is probably suffering. So when it comes down to sourcing inventory, I did some quick research here, and here's where Max dealers stand. And I love this takeaway, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this because you go into the stores a lot. If from Max dealers over the last 90 days, we're seeing 53% retail sales are coming from trades generating over 19, almost $2,000 a copy on the front, where we're seeing 46% of those units being sold over the same time frame coming from purchases and only making $1,400 clip. So there's your $500 and there's your almost 10% difference. So when you look at these numbers, Chris, what is the first thing that comes to mind?
The first thing that jumps at me is the 53% sold trade. In this world where we know, inventory is still tough. I mean, like you said, inventory is available. There are some dealers acting like maybe it's not, but inventory is available. Are we keeping what we can keep? It's some of it is dealers are right scared of not being able to get parts, and maybe they're wholesaling some stuff that they wouldn't normally wholesale. But if I make 500 more on a trade, are there some opportunities? It seems like there's some opportunities there to retail some units that we aren't right now.
I've always been everything on this channel is around sourcing more inventory from the consumer. And that's a trade. And if you're going to tell me that you're going to make $500 more on a unit as a trade, I would be trying to get every trade I could.
Yeah, closing percentage on trades right now should be
right. And I'd be worried, like, where are those 47% of what's happening to the rest of those cars? Where are those cars going? Somebody is going to retail those cars.
Yeah.
2, if you're going to sell a lot of purchases, the days of selling purchase cars and making $4,000 are, I mean, what do you think?
I think that being realistic when you price a purchase car, being realistic when you appraise a car you're buying, right? I see a lot of guys that set, and I hate to say this, not throwing it, but they put $4,000 in recon, and then they say they're going to make $3,000 on front end gross when they're trying to buy a car, and then they put their hands up. I can't buy anything. Well, are we being realistic with ourselves? If we're running $1,400 a copy, let's do that, and let's do that a little bit quicker, especially if it's a replaceable car.
Yeah. So good takes, Chris. Hey, I appreciate your time.
I appreciate you having me, Tim.
You know, listen, maybe we'll have you back someday, you know, depending upon the ratings of this particular video. I mean, we've got the one viewer on. We're good to go. It's a success as far as I'm concerned.
That's a win. I appreciate the time. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, dude. We'll catch you later. Hey, you know what I say? Sell them all. You can always buy more. We'll catch you next time, guys.